आपादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मृतेन विघ्नं प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु नितरामितरामपेक्षां गृध्वयं निगमशाखिशिखाप्रवालं हैरम्बमुम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रहं विघ्नाद्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरन्नः सर्वेषां स्वागतम्. This is the positive psychology session for the ninth shloka. So this is actually a continuation. So the concept that we are going to speak about is nothing but learned ignorance, but there are different uh, contours of it, and it can maybe help with a lot of answers also. So we talked about learned ignorance in the previous session of positive psychology, where we said we need to start questioning at least, are we able to, or can we at least think of this question, what can be the reasons that justify Rama's decision to exile Sita? Obviously, the premise is that I do not know what his thought process is, why he did that. So this is the not knowing part. And I am aware that his thought process cannot be, I cannot inherit it. I cannot have it. But should I not even ask the question then? The question must be in such a way that it must get more insights. It should not be the other way around. So, for example, coming to the crux of the issue, the question is very popularly, many people will ask this question: what could have been the reason why Rama exiled Sita? So it so happens that if we look at Valmiki Ramayana itself, there is a small issue over there. So that too has to be clarified. So when we talk about Valmiki Ramayana in general, which is considered as the most authentic uh, narration of Ramayana, it is practically only 5 kandas. It is not 7 kandas as it exists in the modern day. It is only 5 kandas. So this 5 kandas starts from Ayodhya Kanda. Balakanda is not there. Ayodhya Kanda. Why? Because when Valmiki Maharshi listens to Narada Devarshi, his narration of Moola Ramayana, which is the first 100 Shloki Ramayana, and by that point of time, Rama has already reached Chitrakuta. That means he has already come out of Ayodhya. He has um, taken the promise that his father has done and to fulfill it, and he has come on Vanvasa. So there at Chitrakuta, at Bharadwaja Rishi's ashrama, he was staying, and that's where he spots. That's where it starts. So Bala, at that point of time, after listening to Narada Muni, Valmiki Maharshi, he is advised to pray to. He's very much keen on writing the Ramakatha. Therefore, Devarshi says that you pray to Devi Saraswati to give you the divine sight to see Ramayana as it happens. And therefore, from there onwards, whatever happens is considered the most authentic narration, record of facts. But before that, Rama also is very popular as a prince, not as a god. This is one other thing that we need to understand. His avatara never will will it be mentioned. We are talking about Valmiki Ramayana itself. Valmiki Maharshi never says that he is a god. He starts with a guna. He says so many gunas are there. Rama is such a gunavanta and etc. etc. But he never says Rama is Bhagavanta. He never says that he is the avatar of Narayana. Only in the beginning, that is one thing where he mentions that the creator has taken birth as the prince of Ayodhya. So that is one place, and in the end also we will find that there is no such thing as Uttara Ramayana that is authenticated. So what happened is that these 5 kandas, that is Ayodhya Kanda, and after Ayodhya Kanda, you have Aranya. Aranyakanda, and then we have Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Yuddha Kanda. These are the five kandas of Ramayana that is that has been validated as something that has been written by one person that we know as Maharishi Valmiki. And I think it is the Oriental Research Institute of Baroda who has done an extensive research and reduced this. So what has happened is, after Treta Yuga, that is after Rama's period, there has come a point where people started saying, oh, what happened before he came to the Balakanda also, like I said, Rama is a very popular guy. Yeah, knowing about the Prince of Ayodhya, etc., etc. So they would have heard about Tatakavada, Ahalya Shapa Vimochana, all these stories. So Maharshi Valmiki then himself added those incidents. So the Balakandam has a lot, is written, attributed closely to Maharshi Valmiki itself. Some of the additions, irregularities are there. Other than that, even Balakanda is accepted that it is written by Maharshi Valmiki. But when we come to Uttarakanda, that is after Rama returns to um, Ayodhya and starts ruling it as a king, then we find that's when Uttara Ramayana starts. Uttara Ramayana is not considered to be the most authentic rendition, or rather, it is not even considered directly from Maharshi Valmiki. The Research Institute, that is what it says, that there are huge differences in the way it is uh, given. There is huge differences in the way it is written. The Kavyatmaka Shakti that Maharshi Valmiki uses in the Ramayana, it is missing, or there is some irregularity. So it hugely said that the seventh Kanda is not written by Maharshi Valmiki, it was added by somebody else. Now, does that mean that what happened was, we can refute what has happened or not? We don't know. It may have happened, but something would have happened. We cannot say nothing happened. Something would have definitely happened. But what happens is we need to understand the perspective. Yatharupa, that means as it happened, that gives you a very clear picture of what is happening. There is no judgment over there. It immediately unflurs. So, okay, Rama went to forest, Rama went to forest. Then we can add other things like Rama being Raghuvamshi, who, who never went back on his promise, wanted to make sure that he keeps up the promise given by his father, and therefore, see, this is analysis. This is analysis. This is post-mortem analysis, not even after Rama goes to forest, we are thinking, okay, why did he go? Then we add those questions, then the statements, the analysis part of it. So in this case, what happens is, if Uttara Ramayana is written after Rama's period, assuming that it is written after Rama's period. During Ramayana, by the end of Ramayana, it is very well agreed that Rama is the avatar of Narayana. Therefore, those facts, whatever happened, then they would say, they would start thinking, that is, the people who have added it, they would start thinking that, okay, we have all accepted that he's the avatar of Narayana, so they cannot question anything. So there is space for utprekshe. They would they would mention something in a ridiculous sense. That is one thing that we need to understand. For example, if I have seen a stunt, I'm talking about a film stunt. If I have seen a film stunt, a stuntman do a particular stunt, or let us say an actor do a stunt. I have seen it, and therefore, what happens is, I would have said, okay, I would have not said, oh, he flew like a, cheetah, he ran like a jaguar. I would not give those kind of narration. I would say he ran very fast, he jumped from one bike to another bike. This is the stunt. I convey this to somebody who is not a part, who is not witness to it. That person, what he does, he adds the metaphors, the comparisons, all those things, the analogies. He ran like a cheetah, he ran like a whatever, he jumped like blah blah blah. That analogy comes there. And then going forward, when the conclusion is that whatever the actor did, the stunt that actor did is very advanced for him, his level, it would have been okay. He never did it, but he did it today. Okay, that doesn't mean that it is difficult. The unusual thing is that for a person who watched him live, he never used to do his own stunts. He did it for the first time. That can be an observation. This conveying it to somebody who is not a part of uh, live proceedings, that would be he did a great stunt. Further, what happens is it gets exaggerated to an extent. People say that even stuntsmen couldn't do it, but he performed that stunt. Additions keep coming up in narrations. So we need to understand the time at which point this Uttara Ramayana is added. Because what would happen, a person, let us say, after Rama's Yuga, that is after Treta Yuga, if a person after Treta Yuga has added Uttara Ramayana, for them, Rama was not Raja Rama, he was the avatara of Sriman Narayana. Therefore, they would write anything in a in manner that can be ridiculously exaggerated, such that they don't feel the need to justify it, because it is already for them, it has already been accepted that Rama is avatar of Sriman Narayana. Therefore, there is no need for them to give a reason for Rama's actions. So they can spruce up his actions to any extent. They can say Rama commanded. Some may even go and say Rama, even as a king, he became a Vinamra Bhav, say he asked Sita to leave. That can also happen. So we need to understand at which point of time these things have been added. So Ramayana itself is like this. So when we talk about ignorance, we specifically we are coming to what Rama's decision itself is. So here the problem being that there is no authentic um Ramayana that has all the seven. In fact, even Vyasa Maharshi in Mahabharata itself, Ramakatha comes called as Ramopakhyana. In Ramopakhyana also, it is around 700 slokas. There is no Uttara Ramayana. But you will find that when we are studying Adhyatma Ramayana, which is the text, because Sri Rama Gita comes over this only, we are studying this after Sita is exiled. So it's very important to understand how the exile whole thing took place, because to what extent we can say is authentic, we can say that we can take word to word from Valmiki Ramayana and say that in the Yuddhakanda 118 to 108 to 119 sargas, Rama actually after defeating Ravana, he doesn't accept Sita. There is a um, Agni Pariksha. And after that, in Sarga 19, when the gods come down and say, how can the creator of the world make such folly, make such mistake? Rama explains, because today I am not the creator of the world, I am in the form of a human, and as a Raja who is born in the lineage of Raghu, even if I say that Sita was innocent, nobody will believe me. Therefore, it was necessary for all the gods to come and give their judgment. It was important for Agni Deva to come and say that Sita was pure. Otherwise, they will ridicule. They will not consider my word for it because I'm a human. As Sriman Narayana, that's a different thing. He never accepts that because it was his vrata to continue as a human only. In Rama Avatara, it was only because that is the only way Ravana could have been defeated. So therefore, when we talk about Valmiki Ramayana, Rama goes to such an extent to make sure that everybody accepts Sita's innocence. But here, how is it possible that one small incident gets invokes this kind of reaction? So story goes on like this. What has been added or whatever is available in the Uttara Ramayana and even Adhyatma Ramayana follow the same story. It's that when Rama asks some of the anucharas, what is the state of affairs in Ayodhya? Then one, I think his name is Bhadra. He replies, he's a charioteer, if I'm not wrong, Sevaka. So he says, with respect to your rule, we are not saying anything. That means it's great. Ramaraja is Ramaraja. But it has so happened that there is a washerman. That washerman and his wife were fighting. Washerman and his wife are fighting. The wife, he's questioning his wife. The washerman is questioning the wife. And the wife quotes saying, when Raja Ram did not question Sita, who are you to question me? This is the premise. This is the premise. So Bhadra says, because you as a king did not even bother questioning Sita on her purity, now the women of the kingdom have become so bold and adamant that they are not allowing their husbands to question them. That means whatever we do, who are you to question me? Ram did not question Sita. Ram did not doubt her. He is a king. He is Avatara Purusha. Then why are you questioning me? Who are you to question me? This is the pravritti of that. It is the consequence of that action. So, as a king, Rama starts thinking. There is a they say that he started thinking. He is very agitated. He starts roaming around, and then Valmiki Ramayana has many other details of it. In Adhyatma Ramayana also we have a set of details of it. But it so happens that after that Rama exiles Sita. So his Rajadharma in this, what we can conclude is that he found that whatever was his reason to justify whatever he did, that is a different thing. But after he became a king, his actions were misconstrued. His actions were misconstrued to somebody else's, to meet somebody else's ends. This is one aspect of it. This is one aspect of it. It doesn't justify whatever has happened. It reasons. This is a very key important. I am not, like I said, I've been very clear about this. We cannot judge. Nobody can judge unless and until we understand the constraints. We stand in that point, in that person's shoes, and then take a decision. We cannot judge and we should not judge. But we are trying to find out because we call Rama as Purushottama, and we need to understand what made him, even for anybody's standards. We are not talking about anybody. We are talking about the greatest of the kings. If he is the greatest of the king, how is it that he took an undesirable decision, something that nobody accepts? It's not a question of whether he was a great king or whatever. It doesn't matter. For any king, no king would do that. Rama is the Kshitipala Bhushana, as explained. He is the jewel among kings. Then why would Rama just, by happenstance, he would say that, no, I'm feeling very bad, let me exile Sita? That is not possible, no. So there has to be some thought. We are trying to understand why that thought exists. What is the thought that can justify Rama's action? What came across his mind? So, one thing that we find is that the one reason that we find is that his action of treating Sita innocent provoked, or rather created a ripple effect among the kingdom, where the women of the kingdom started admonishing their husbands for questioning them. It created a pravritti, like when we were like the traffic rules. Like the traffic rules, we happen, right? Sometime I've broken a traffic rule. I what usually happens that a police, if he catches me, I bribe myself out of it. Next time, I know I'm doing a mistake. I'm not following traffic rules. But the fact that that particular policeman could be bought, it will make me more callous towards uh, following the traffic rules. One, and even if I see a policeman, my intention will always be that, okay, if I just pay him a bribe, he'll let me go. It invokes a certain kind of reaction. Usually in consumer behavior, there is something called as post purchase, then post purchase behavior, and then there is post purchase evaluation. So what happens is that I have made the decision to buy something. After I've bought it, I've used it, and from that use, I have concluded something that is okay, this is a good product. This is a mediocre product. This is worth the money. Then I evaluated, do everybody else feel the same thing? These are three stages that they say. In the same way, we can think about this as well. Rama took a decision. When he took a decision, or when he brought back Sita, that without question, without, it's not without question. Actually, he did a lot of things. He questioned her, and only when Agni Deva came up with this thing, he certified her purity, only then she was brought back. Even though what actually happened after that is that in his kingdom, the women started saying that when Rama can accept Sita, why are you questioning me? This pravritti, what happened, it is like that broken windows rule. Once a window is broken, we don't mind breaking the others also. It is not more precious, it is not precious to us. So this rule, it came across to the people that Rama has broken a rule, so now we can also do it. When Rama, being a great king, finds it easier to break, that is the reason Krishna can justify being Krishna. Krishna can break dharma and he can justify it because he is the complete manifestation of Parabrahman. So he can stop the time itself and give his Vishwarupa Darshana to Arjuna. He can stop. He can do anything that he wants and he can justify it. Rama cannot. Rama cannot justify what he has done because he is a human and he has to be understood through human lens. And humans cannot understand him because of ajnana, because we don't know how he thinks. Even though I'm very close to my parents, I will not understand how they make decisions. So when we think about Rama, this whole process comes into play. So this is one aspect of it. That is, we are trying to clarify what his decision could have been, to what his train of thought would have been to justify his actions. Surprisingly enough, I want to understand the flip side of it, because the action, when we talk about it, husband exiling a wife, it cannot be justified. Okay, even I'm averse to it. Fine. Why did he do it? He's not a normal person. When a simpleton like me can say that it is a bad decision, it shouldn't have been done. How come he did it. What made him justify it? At least to himself. How could he justify it to himself as a king? There should be some reason. Why are we not thinking about that? Because we are averse to that whole action. We have judged it. It is not, we have already said that what he did was wrong. Therefore, what we are doing, I've already said, this judgment part is extremely crucial for understanding Rama. That is the reason when he approaches, that is Lakshmana, when he approaches, he is asadita shuddha bhavana, asadhya. He has done that. That is the reason he's asking. If I have already made a judgment that what Rama did is bad, why will I think about why? How could Rama justify it? Why will I even think about justifying that act? Right? Why will I even think about the reason why that act happened? So, therefore, when we think about learned ignorance, it's very important that we think from the that we try to question it the same thing again and again with the same question, because even if I question it 10 times, it's not going to give me the 10 same answers. There will be some element that is going to change. So when it comes to this part, what I understand is that this is a reason. Not again, justification is a different thing. I cannot justify Rama. There is no way I can justify Rama. But I can reason, I can find one reason that as a king, when he saw that his action was misconstrued, and then see, everything has two parts of it. There are two extremes of anything. So there could have been those people, there could have been those people in Ayodhya who would have said, oh, Rama is so benevolent that he brought back Sita. There could also have been a section in the same society who said that he was foolish. And those foolish people would have also taken the opportunity to say that hey, he's only broken the rules. Why can't we do it? So that pravritti, that became, because we have a habit of um, taking something negative from others. We don't take positives, we take negatives. Somebody else break the rules. What do? Nobody saw him. He escaped. Let me also try. This has happened. This has happened. So my personal experience was once I was supposed to travel in a train. I've never traveled without a ticket. But the person who was with me, he said that no, he travels very regularly by train. He says there's too huge queue. We cannot stand and get this thing. So let's go. And I was able to make that. And that gave a rush. So we usually take up negatives. We don't take up the positives. So it's very much possible that this action, whatever is the negative interpretation of this action of Rama bringing home Sita back, that negative interpretation could have spread a little widely. And this part is what Rama sensed was a broken window effect, where if I don't correct this now, then they will go to the next extent of breaking more rules. This is the reason. The question can be that, oh, for that, can he send his wife to Vanavasa? I don't know. We cannot judge it. That is the whole point of it. I found a reason. This is my reason. This is my analysis. Judgment is up to the time, relevance, desha kala patra. It is not up to me to make it. So judgment should never be passed on anyone for that matter, but specifically analysis, analytically, yes, this is the reason. This is how this has happened. But we have to think about this. This is a very specific thing. Why? Because we have this adhyaropa. We talked about ajnana also. Adhyaropa, it happens. And I specifically spoke about how the things that we know influences more into humanizing or projecting it on others. That is the reason I said I can relate to Rama as a son, as a husband, as a uh, something else, but not as a king, because I have not experienced it as a king. I've never been a subject. If I've been a subject, oh, well, there was a popular recent current affairs ka hai. So there was a huge protest by a particular community of people saying that the person who is in charge, person who is in charge as in government terms, in terms of governance terms, he is a public representative. That person who heads that particular organization or council or department, that person is not a nice person. He has harassed people. He has taken advantage of all those things, etc., etc., etc. This was quoted in media. The government took no action against it, or rather it did not engage also as much as required. So there was, it was blown, it became a huge media piece where the government was reprimanded. Why? Why? We don't know whether he did what he did or if that person is really corrupt, but we are expecting an action from the government. Why? Because we are behaving as subjects. We believe that any complaint, there is a merit for that complaint to be investigated. And even before it is investigated, that person must not stay in the position of power, because he can influence the investigation. Therefore, that person must be made to resign, and therefore, we should make sure that the government conducts a proper investigation and takes appropriate action. But even before they find out what the truth is, we expect them to sack that person. Why? If that is justified, isn't what Rama did the same thing? Because he too, we are thinking it from the perspective of a subject here. What do we need as a subject? We need a good king. How do we define a good king? Who does not differentiate between his kin and his subjects. So when we are thinking in that perspective, if I say that in the context of Rama itself, when we say that this, because of this particular decision, there has been a repercussion in the society that is creating a negative ripple, then should he not take the decision to contain it, regardless of who is going to be the who is going to be the victim of it? If then his relationship as a husband is important, then in the current scenario, is it also not correct that the government did not do anything about it? If we require a particular reaction from the government, saying that, okay, we will investigate whatever is the allegations made. First, we'll ask him to step down, because they didn't ask him to step down. This was a current issue. Okay. So if they say that, and if we accept that, then we should also accept what Rama did. If we say that no, Rama should have considered his relationship, his personal relation, not professional. Professionally, he is the king. Others are all subjects, including Sita. The king is the father of his subjects. That is how the Rajadharma builds up. So here, when we are thinking that Rama's personal equation, that is relationship with Sita as a husband, should be considered and he should give that consideration, then whatever the government doing, that is not reacting to allegations, it also makes sense. Learned ignorance is extremely complicated and it can invoke a lot of opposing thoughts, it's very difficult to understand, because we it is definition wise, I can say that understanding that you're ignorant, yes, but how the progression is that perpetuation of ignorance exceeds, and it manifests in different kinds of um, real world scenarios, which is very difficult to connect and very difficult to take a side. I'm not taking any side. If today's scenario is give me a yes or no answer, I have no answer for it. The deed, yes, deed we can always separate. The deed we can always separate and say that sending a husband, sending a wife because he doubts her is extremely bad. Yes, you put all the scenarios together, that we cannot extradite this, we cannot exfoliate, what is it? What's the right word? Um, we cannot extrapolate whatever is the um, principle of one particular scenario to another particular scenario without having change in consequences. It's not possible, because a role of a king is completely ignored when we say that he should give a consideration as a husband. It cannot be together. It cannot be together. There cannot be a king who says that no, I'm going to be my wife's husband first, and then I'm going to be a king. That it completely undermines the authority of a king. There is no point in even staying as the king. Better abdicate, because there is no authority only over there. Because that itself means that the king is being favored. Same thing goes to politicians today. If there is one consideration given where that person says that, okay, he's from my party and therefore I am not going to take the allegations against him seriously, or I am going to ignore it. I have confidence in that person. This is another thing. I have confidence in that person doesn't mean that the public have confidence in that person. So a politician, a leader, whoever it may be, whatever position it may be, he needs to understand, when a political party exists, it exists because of the patronage of the people, of the vote bank. If they are saying that we don't like this person, he is corrupt, just because in a certain area he is able to exceed, we cannot say that he shouldn't be reprimanded. There should be no action against him. That is ridiculously stupid. So at any point of time, we need to understand a learned ignorance. If we take it, project it to current life scenarios, it's extremely hard to understand. So, like a political leader who's a representative, when he sees that there is allegations against his party men, against his team, cabinet, or whatever, he needs to take action, and he needs to make sure that the trust is restored. The people, the trust of the people is restored. Otherwise, what happens is his inaction, not taking any action, his inaction is also against professional ethics. So, when there is a mutual exclusivity of professional and personal decisions, then we need to understand that there cannot be any allowance for personal interpretation. Just because I can't say that I know that person, whatever is the allegations that has been thrown at him is not right. I know. I can vouch for that person. Therefore, I'm not taking any action against him. That is not possible, because the people, he's a people's representative. So obviously, the people, the trust of the people must be vested in that person. So that has to be done. It may be unnecessary. That person may be innocent also, but it has to be done. So in the same way, Rama did whatever he did. I cannot judge that whether he did the right thing or wrong thing. If anybody thinks of him as a husband first, they will say what he did is bad. If anybody is there who thinks of Rama as a king first, they will say he followed Raj Dharma. So it is not up to us to actually decide that. The only thing that is possible is that trying to reason what Rama's stand was. That's all. And it's very difficult because most of the people don't even learn the scriptures, and the scriptures are extremely tricky to interpret also. So, learned ignorance cannot get a definitive answer, but it is possible to reduce that ignorance by asking the same question and again and again. Okay, why did Rama do this? What made him do this? Different angles. I don't think we need to even brainstorm it or think of it in any way. We just keep thinking of that one particular thought. Why did Rama do this? Why did Rama do this? Why did Rama do this? We will approach that particular question in 10 different ways. Thus, we get 10 different answers, maybe 100 different answers. And there will be at least one that will justify his action. We may not want to accept it. That there will be one, at least one. So considering that there is a possibility that Rama can be right itself is a huge thing, which is, I don't think many people will be able to do it. So learned ignorance requires, it needs to be done away with, but that is only possible with continuous questioning. It needs to be questioned. That why, all that has to be, that is the only way to do it. So this is the, this was a long session. This was the, for the positive psychology aspect of the ninth shloka. So with this, learned ignorance interpretation of this thing is done. So we'll see the other topics with the other shlokas. So we'll end the session now. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।